Hey everyone, John here! And Indie World just gave us a demo for Mina the Hollower, which officially releases on Halloween. And while this game already looked rad as flip, there's a reason that you should play this demo. Because it showcases a pretty essential feature of the Nintendo Switch. When this console was revealed, they boasted a 120Hz screen, and so far, very few games have actually used that. Now, Cyberpunk can use 120Hz, but not for the full frame rate, instead for 40 FPS, because it's just an even divide between 40, 80, 120. It makes it a bit more stable. Street Fighter 6 is for somewhat similar reasons. It's 120Hz container, but it's 60 FPS. And that's mostly for input latency, so far in the West, nothing at all really uses that full 120 FPS other than that one Welcome Tour game where you guess the ball speed. It's not quite right to say that no game in the Switch 2 library uses this feature at all, because Ys 10 Proud Nordics does a full 120 FPS mode. But the only problem is this is Japan exclusive, there's no demo, so thank you Xephos Gaming for testing this for the internet. This does indeed run at full 120 FPS. But at least in the West we have our very first game with Mina the Hollower. Simply go into the options, go down to video, and where it says max game FPS, change it from 60 to 120. If you're using a TV, you'll likely see a black flash as your TV changes the video mode, but handheld mode on the Switch 2 just does it instantly. And right there at the bottom, it's going to tell you your output resolution and the frame rate that the game is set to. And now, Mina is going to run at full 120 frames per second. And I captured a bunch of stuff to show you the differences between 60 and 120, but then I remembered that YouTube simply does not support 120 FPS as an output. And so I can show you everything, but you're not really going to get the full picture. This is something you have to see with your own eyes, really. But what I can do is slow the footage down, and the 60Hz one's going to become a bit choppy, whereas 120Hz should still stay rather smooth. Funnily enough, I had to actually edit the intro to the game, because the 60Hz version, for whatever reason, finishes after the 120Hz version by quite a lot. Just the cuts between the scenes, 120Hz goes way faster into the next one than 60. I don't know why that is, maybe the game just changes its speed a little bit depending on the refresh rate? Odd, but I've synced it as best I can by editing a few of the cuts. So here's a few comparison clips that I've gathered together. I am also going to show you just raw 120Hz gameplay in handheld mode. You're not really going to see the full frames because of YouTube, but I thought it would still be neat. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.